Alex had never been so far from Earth before. The Intergalactic Academy floated high above the clouds of a gas giant, a massive space station where students from hundreds of worlds learned together. It was strange, loud, and a little frightening. Alien species of every shape and color filled the corridors. Some had 6 arms, some had tentacles, some glowed softly, and some hovered a few inches above the ground. Alex could feel eyes watching him everywhere he went. He adjusted the strap of his bag and tried to ignore the whispers. Humans were rare at this academy, and Alex already knew the other students were curious about him. He had always been small for his age, and compared to the giant or armored aliens, he seemed fragile. But he carried himself with quiet confidence. He had survived tough situations back on Earth. Somehow he felt that would count here too. The bell rang, echoing through the station. Alex walked into his first class, Advanced Intergalactic Chemistry. The classroom was unlike anything he had seen. Instead of desks in neat rows, there were circular stations, each equipped with strange tools, glowing liquids, and small containment fields. The air smelled faintly of metal and ozone. At one of the stations, a group of students were whispering and glancing at him. One of them, a tall alien with green scaly skin, waved a claw at him. "Human," it hissed softly, "come here. You will see something fun." Alex smiled politely and walked over. He could tell they were up to something. They moved like predators, careful not to be noticed by the teacher. On the counter in front of them was a bright, shimmering liquid that bubbled slightly. Its color shifted from blue to violet, and a faint mist hovered above it. Even from a distance, it looked dangerous. The teacher, a tall crystalline alien with refracting limbs, began speaking. Its voice sounded like wind chimes. "Today you will study reactive compounds from various planets. These compounds are dangerous. Handle with care or they may harm you. No species is immune unless noted. Proceed responsibly." The alien students nodded but exchanged secret smiles. Alex watched as one of them carefully added a drop of the shimmering liquid into a small test tube. Then another. Then a third. They whispered something to each other in a language Alex could not understand. Finally, one of the aliens leaned closer to him. "This is our challenge," it said. Its voice was soft but had an edge of mischief. "This substance is deadly. Even a touch can burn through flesh. Humans, are you brave enough to see it?" Alex looked at the liquid. It bubbled quietly, almost as if it were alive. He felt no fear. Humans had survived things aliens couldn't even imagine. I'm curious," he said calmly. The aliens froze for a moment. They weren't expecting him to be curious. Most species would run, scream, or at least step back. But Alex just leaned in, eyes bright, studying the liquid as if it were a new kind of spice. One of the students, a smaller creature with glowing antennae, whispered urgently, "Do not touch it. It is death. You cannot survive it." Alex tilted his head. "Why not just let me see it?" he said. He reached out slowly, his fingers hovering above the containment field. The other students exchanged nervous glances. None of them had ever seen someone act this way. "Just a little touch," he murmured. "I just want to see what it feels like." The aliens panicked. They knew the teacher was watching, but they also feared the human might actually try it. One of them even reached toward him, perhaps to stop him, but Alex moved faster. Before anyone could react, he dipped his fingertip into the shimmering liquid. The classroom went silent. Time seemed to slow. The other students' eyes widened. No one had ever survived a drop of that acid. It was designed to burn through the toughest alien skin in seconds. Alex brought his finger to his tongue, tasting the liquid carefully. Then he smiled. Spicy." A gasp went through the room. The aliens froze, some dropping their instruments in shock. The green-scaled alien backed away, eyes wide. "Impossible." "It should have destroyed him," it whispered. Alex pulled his finger back and looked at them innocently. "What, it's not bad," he said. "Spicy, actually. Kind of like cinnamon?" The teacher floated over, crystalline limbs shimmering in warning. "Human," it said, voice sharp. "What have you done?" "I just tasted it," Alex replied, shrugging. "No problem." The teacher's surface shimmered with surprise. It bent low to inspect him. Nothing, not even a burn or mark. Alex's skin was completely normal. The alien students stared, some with fear, some with disbelief, and some with embarrassment. They had intended to show how dangerous the substance was, perhaps even scare a human. But it had backfired completely. Instead of fear, Alex had shown calm curiosity and courage. One of the smaller aliens, trembling, finally asked, How are you still alive? Alex smiled politely. Humans are a bit different, he said. We can handle things others can't. Maybe my body reacts differently. The classroom slowly returned to normal, though the tension lingered. The teacher, after checking him thoroughly, nodded. Interesting. Human physiology is indeed unique. Continue your studies carefully, all of you. The alien students, once so confident, now looked at Alex with a mix of awe and respect. They had underestimated him, and now they had a new understanding. Humans were unpredictable, resilient, and maybe even remarkable. As the class continued, Alex quietly observed the students around him. He noticed that even those who had tried to intimidate him now whispered among themselves, trying to figure out what kind of human they were dealing with. Some approached him later cautiously, curious to learn more. Alex knew that surviving this first day was only the beginning. The academy was full of challenges, but he had already proven one thing. Humans were not easy to scare, and sometimes curiosity and courage were the best tools in the galaxy. And somewhere in the back of the classroom, the green-scaled alien muttered, shaking its head, "No species has ever done that. Except humans." The news of what Alex had done spread quickly through the academy. By the time the next class began, students from several species had gathered near the chemistry lab, whispering and pointing. Some were curious, some were skeptical, and some were still shaken by the idea that a human could survive a substance deadly to the strongest aliens. Alex walked down the corridor, carrying his bag and trying to stay calm. He could feel eyes following him everywhere. Normally, he might have felt nervous, but he had learned long ago that fear did not solve anything. Today, he wanted to observe, to understand the reactions of these creatures without causing more chaos. As he entered the classroom, the group of alien students who had tried the acid trick earlier immediately froze. Their glowing eyes widened as they saw him. One of them, the green-scaled alien named Varn, took a hesitant step back. "He's coming. He survived it," it whispered to a smaller antenned alien named Lyra. Lyra trembled slightly. "No one survives that," she said. "Not one. And he just tasted it like it was food." Alex noticed their nervousness but smiled politely. "Hello," he said. "I hope I didn't scare anyone yesterday." Varn stammered, trying to regain control. It was not meant to scare you. We were demonstrating a reactive compound." Alex nodded slowly. "I understand," he said. "It's very colorful. And it smells interesting, too." The classroom fell quiet. The other students whispered among themselves. Even the teacher, the crystalline being who usually floated above the chaos, seemed intrigued. "Human physiology," it said softly, "may possess adaptive qualities not yet fully understood. This is remarkable." Varn and Lyra exchanged embarrassed glances. Their plan to impress each other and perhaps intimidate humans had failed. Worse, they had unintentionally highlighted the humans' unique abilities. They were both curious and wary now. The chemistry lesson began. Today they were working with volatile gases that changed color under different temperatures. Most species approached the experiment cautiously, using multiple protective fields and careful measurements. Alex, however, observed quietly at his station, taking careful notes, studying the reactions. Varn, watching him, couldn't resist whispering to Lyra, "Why is he not scared?" Lyra shook her head. "I do not know. Maybe humans are different. Or maybe he is reckless." Suddenly an alarm sounded. A small container at Varn's station began to hiss and glow. A faint mist started rising from it. Varn panicked and moved back, but Alex calmly stepped forward. He studied the container, analyzing the reaction. Without hesitation, Alex used a tool to safely open a vent and let the gas escape into a controlled field. The mist dissipated harmlessly. Varn and Lyra stared, unable to believe what they had just seen. No other student would have moved so quickly, and certainly no alien had dared approach the gas while it was active. The teacher floated closer, observing Alex's calm handling of the dangerous substance. "Human," it said, "your approach is unorthodox yet effective. Most species would panic or wait for assistance." Alex shrugged. "I like to stay calm and think," he replied. "Panic doesn't help anyone." Varn's eyes narrowed. He wanted to challenge the human, to prove that his species was superior. "You may be lucky," Varn said, "but there are more experiments to test your skills." Not all are so harmless, Alex raised an eyebrow. I look forward to learning, he said simply. The tension in the room grew. The other alien students, who had been watching with curiosity, now began whispering among themselves. If Alex could survive the deadly acid and handle the volatile gas calmly, what else could he do? Some of them even began planning to test his limits, not to harm him, but to understand him better. Later in the day, during a group exercise, Alex was paired with several aliens for a lab challenge. They had to mix compounds to create a safe but reactive reaction. Alex suggested careful measurements and a slow mixing process, which the aliens reluctantly followed. When the reaction worked perfectly, it produced a bright, sparkling mist that hovered safely in the air. The other students cheered quietly. Varn muttered under his breath, "How does he do it?" "No one else would think to do that," Alex smiled politely. "It's about patience and observation," he explained, watching carefully and thinking before acting. As the day ended, the aliens who had once tried to scare him now regarded him with respect. Even Varn approached him cautiously. "Human," he said, "you are unusual. I want to learn from you." Alex nodded. "I can show you what I know," he said. "And I can learn from you too. Maybe we can work together." By the evening, word of Alex's actions had spread beyond the classroom. Students from other disciplines whispered about the human who survived deadly acid, handled dangerous gases, and remained calm under pressure. Some came to see him, curious about his unique abilities. In the cafeteria, Alex sat quietly eating his meal. Alien students approached slowly, asking questions, sharing experiences, and even offering friendship. Alex realized that being human gave him a unique perspective. While he was physically smaller and weaker than many of these species, his mind and courage allowed him to face situations that others feared. As the day ended and the academy's lights dimmed, Alex reflected on what had happened. He knew that this was only the beginning. The academy was full of challenges, strange species, and dangerous experiments, but he had already proven that humans could survive, adapt, and even impress others in ways that no one had expected. Somewhere in the cafeteria, Varn whispered to Lyra, shaking his head. "We underestimated him. Completely. Humans. They are something else." Lyra nodded slowly, her antennae glowing faintly. "Yes, and I think we are only beginning to understand what that means." Alex smiled quietly to himself. The galaxy was bigger than he had imagined, full of wonders and dangers. And for the first time, he felt that humans were not just a small species on a distant planet. They were capable, adaptable, and maybe even extraordinary. And in that moment, surrounded by aliens who had once feared him, Alex realized that being human was more powerful than he had ever thought. The next morning, the academy buzzed with energy. Word of Alex's calm handling of the deadly acid and the volatile gas had spread throughout the halls. Students from multiple species whispered as he walked past, some curious, some cautious, and others admiring. For the first time, Alex realized that being human gave him a special place among the galaxy's most brilliant and powerful young minds. He entered the chemistry lab, where the day's lesson was even more challenging. Today, the students were to create a complex chemical reaction that combined both volatile liquids and reactive gases. The teacher floated above the classroom, its crystalline form shimmering in the soft lights. "This exercise," it said, "will test your patience, precision, and teamwork. Any mistakes may be dangerous. Work carefully." Alex's group included Varn, Lyra, and a few others who had been watching him closely since the previous day. Varn still carried a hint of skepticism, while Lyra's glowing antennae twitched with curiosity. As they began, Alex observed quietly, letting the others mix their components. When a small fume rose from one of Varn's attempts, Alex immediately noticed an imbalance. He gently guided Varn's hands and suggested a safer way to combine the compounds. Varn hesitated but followed his instructions. The mixture stabilized and the reaction produced a sparkling mist. Harmless but beautiful. The other students in the room looked over in admiration. Varn's eyes widened as he realized that Alex had not only saved the experiment but had also made it more impressive. You are remarkable," Varn admitted, his voice low. No one else would have noticed the problem so quickly. Alex smiled politely. "Sometimes it's just about paying attention. Don't rush. Think carefully about each step." Throughout the class, more unexpected incidents occurred. One alien accidentally spilled a reactive liquid. Another produced a gas cloud too strong for the containment field. In every case, Alex calmly analyzed the situation and suggested solutions. He never panicked, never scolded, and never acted recklessly. The other students began to follow his example, learning that careful observation and quick thinking could prevent disasters. By the afternoon, Alex's reputation had grown even stronger. Students from other classes peeked in to see him work. Even the normally strict teacher seemed impressed. "Human," it said quietly to him. "Your approach is unconventional, yet highly effective. Your species may possess qualities worth studying more closely." During a short break, Varn approached Alex. "I want to apologize," he said, his scaled hands fidgeting nervously. "Yesterday we tried to test you with the acid. That was unwise. You handled it better than anyone could imagine." Alex nodded. "It's okay. I understand curiosity. But danger should always be approached carefully. You almost caused serious harm." Lyra stepped forward, her antennae glowing softly. We also wanted to learn from you. Can you teach us how humans handle situations like this?" Alex smiled. "I can show you how I think through problems. But you have to try it yourselves. Observing is not enough." The afternoon challenge came next. The students were tasked with creating a controlled chain reaction, using both liquids and gases, while avoiding any dangerous outcomes. Most students hesitated, worried about the volatile substances. Alex, however, approached the materials confidently. He worked steadily, carefully analyzing the properties of each component. When a small error occurred, he quickly adjusted the process, preventing any accident. The chain reaction, instead of exploding or producing a dangerous cloud, produced a shimmering, harmless display of lights and colors. The room erupted in quiet applause. Varn, Lyra, and the others looked at Alex with newfound respect. You are incredible," Varn said softly. "Humans, you are different. Not weak, not fragile. You are clever, fast, and brave," Alex shrugged. "I just stay calm and pay attention. Anyone can do it if they focus and think clearly." By the end of the day, Alex had earned more than just admiration. He had earned trust. Alien students approached him for advice, asking questions about their own experiments. Some even asked if he would partner with them for the next intergalactic competition. Alex agreed, knowing that teamwork would teach everyone more than any individual skill. In the evening, as the academy lights dimmed and students gathered in the common area, Alex reflected on the day. The aliens who had once tried to intimidate him now treated him as an equal, even as a mentor. It was a strange feeling, but a good one. He realized that humans were not only capable of surviving dangerous situations, they could also inspire respect through calm thinking and courage. Varn and Lyra joined him at a table, quietly chatting with him about the day's experiments. "We underestimated humans," Varn admitted. "We thought you would panic or fail, but you make even dangerous things look simple." Lyra nodded. "And we want to understand more. Maybe humans can teach us more than we thought." Alex smiled. "We can learn from each other. Every species has strengths. Humans just have different ones." Across the common area, other students watched quietly. Whispers of respect for the human who survived deadly acid and tamed volatile substances spread further. Alex realized that this was more than just surviving experiments. It was about showing that courage, intelligence, and calm thinking could earn respect even in the most challenging environments. As the academy prepared for the night, Alex felt a sense of belonging. He was far from Earth, surrounded by aliens who were stronger, faster, and more unusual than anyone he had ever known. But he was no longer just a human visitor. He was a student, a teammate, and in his own way, a pioneer. Somewhere in the crowd, Varn whispered to Lyra, shaking his head with amazement. "Humans, they are not what I expected. They are extraordinary." Lyra's antennae glowed softly. "Yes, and I think the Academy will never be the same after meeting him." Alex looked out at the stars visible through the Academy's windows. The galaxy was vast and full of challenges, but he felt ready. He knew that being human meant being adaptable, curious, and brave. And sometimes it meant surprising everyone, even creatures from other worlds, with a simple act of courage or a calm mind.